Hey, what is up, you sexy beast? GhostSickness, Tristan here. Now, if I do sound kind of weird, I am a little bit congested. I got that cold, though. The Ghost Sickness has the Ghost Sickness right now. And so I'm going to be telling you guys another My First. I'm sorry I haven't done one of these in actually quite a while, guys. I'm sorry. I'm kind of running low on ideas for these, so leave them in the description below. I have a few left, but I can't do some. One sexual one that happened because she kind of knows about my channel and whatnot. So that's the deal with the sexual ones. But I wouldn't worry about it because there are other My First that may in fact be better. But this one is my first car race. My first time racing in a car, like legitimately, not like on a track or anything like that. It's kind of complicated. But in the description below, I'll link my first car chase, where someone chased after me. And it was not a race. It was just more horrifying than anything else that happened last year. But this is a car race that happened. And I remember it happened on September 11th of last year. And this is the time when I still had my Kia Soul. If you guys ever saw that video, I'll link in the description below. Show some parts of it here. Because I ended up owning a Kia Soul for a brief period of time. It's really, really complicated. I got into it in a few videos. But basically, I had this Kia Soul, a 1.6 liter, and it was a manual, actually. It's pretty rare to find brand new manuals like that, but it was a manual, and I was, not new to manual, but I hadn't owned one. Like, I've never really owned a manual besides that car, and it was still kind of new to me, right? So I was still relearning it again, because that's what I initially learned how to drive in, but I kind of faded over time, you know what I mean? So anyway, I was driving that car, and I ended up meeting my brother at Walmart because we were going to go shopping, and his girlfriend was there and everything. And so we went shopping, and then we loaded most of the stuff up into his car, and it was time to go. And so we get in our cars, and I end up, pulling in front of him, and we get to the stoplight to take a ride onto the highway that gets us most of the way home. And so we're on that highway, and I'm in front of him at this point because I'm able to pull out first. It's always helpful to pull out first, you know what I'm talking about. And we had kind of agreed to race, like, yeah, I'll race you home, bro. And so I was in front of him at this point because I got the head start. And so I'm, pulling in front of him. I'm getting off to a good start. And I'm using other cars as my, blockade. It was fucking great. So I was, going pretty fast. And he would try to go on my left. And so I'd cut him off, obviously, on my left. And this wasn't, Fast and the Furious shit. I don't want to exaggerate this at all. But I think our top speed was probably 70, 75. Not horribly, but quite a bit over the speed limit. Still illegal regardless. Luckily, there were no cops. It's pretty dark outside at this point. And so, I'm driving my car. And luckily, I'm in, 6th gear because it's a 6th gear. Or a 6-speed, and so luckily I was in the last gear, so I didn't have to do much first gear, shifting, because that's the worst part for me, is shifting from, from starting, being stopped in first gear and going, in that whole first gear to second gear. That's the struggle. It's real, okay, guys? And so I was going down the road, and I was using other cars in my blockade, so he couldn't really, pull forward, because these 2-lane highways. It was pretty small, and so he couldn't really pull forward or anything. And so I basically continued that, going pretty fast, not cutting some other cars off, but using them to my advantage and keeping about the same speed with them in the left lane. And so my brother was still behind me, and I was checking to see if he was still behind me, but I could barely see that it was exactly him, but I knew he hadn't passed me at that point. And so we end up getting to the top of this hill where the highway ends and pulls onto one of the main roads that we have to take home. And so he ends up pulling around behind me because I was still in front of him at this point. He ends up pulling around behind me, and I end up honking and flipping him off, and I try following him because he's ahead of me at this point. And so he ends up getting to the intersection, pulled ahead of me, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm gonna lose this race, man. I'm gonna lose this race. And it still wasn't a very serious thing, but it was still just kind of fun and exhilarating. And so he goes down, and there's a roundabout that you can take, and then you can take a left to go home. And so I'm like, all right, I'll just take a first left and go through the neighborhood and be able to go home a shorter way without having to go through a roundabout. And so I do that, and I'm fucking, man, I'm going really fast in this neighborhood, probably 40, 35, 40 miles an hour in this neighborhood, just, take left turn, right turn, and going all the way down, breaking so many laws, and, stop signs and whatnot. Who cares, right? And so I end up getting home just barely before he does, because right as I'm coming to take the last left turn that I have to, I see his car coming at me. I'm like, yes, I fucking won. The smirk on my face was totally real when I got home and realized that I had beat my brother. And luckily, there were no cops out there that day, so we didn't get pulled over or anything. Nothing was super sketchy, but I was pretty pumped up and excited. He was mad that he lost, but he's like, yeah, no, I just barely lost, just barely. And so I thought that was a very, very fun time. If you guys are ever going to race cars, you know that intersection, I still do that. If there's a 2-lane intersection that kind of merges into one soon, I try racing the people next to me. And one time I ended up losing to a small little white truck. That makes me kind of mad, to be honest. But yeah, guys, that was just a simple little story. I hope you did enjoy my first. I'm sorry I don't have that many left, but yeah, that was just my first car race story. If you want more driving stories or anything really cool, there's a bunch of stories on my channel. Have a great day, and remember the fact that I also sell t-shirts, and I love you.